and welcome to the news and to this reaction of Shazam's new costume. And that's the teaser. We're going to get to the teaser in a second. Just start playing automatically because I switched scenes. So, yeah, guys, I tried to work out a bit and gather a bit more strength for another stream. And I got a bit of a pump, as you can see. So yeah, I'm gonna go to make my own costume. I'm kidding. I wish I could. So, guys in the chat, hi to you. My Primarchs are all here. Dear Clayton, Apple, Ivy, hi to you. I'm so happy. Okay, it's late. We gotta get through Shazam. So, a bit of a context for those of you that don't know, I really love the first movie, but I haven't seen it since then, so I really need to rewatch it. And in the meantime, while Shazam is, I think, finished filming, The Rock is filming, obviously, Black Adam. And if they're going to go by the comics, we're going to have, well, the same costumes pretty much. But let's not get ahead of myself. So let's see the teaser once again. It's very brief. And I have to put the volume a bit higher for me. Yeah, lower the sails. Absolutely. Oh, yeah, roll like the Xena to the shores. Yeah, roll like the Gerinant. Oh yes, okay. Okay, guys. So before I get like a fluffy muffin state, let's play this. Let me know if you have the sound. We are going to go over it anyway, but let's see.
Why is it so dark? Probably would have been a good idea to have like one light on.
He's a funny guy, and I'm just going to repeat. So, yeah, what do you think about that? I mean, it's only a teaser, a teaser trailer, and it's meant to be funny, which, okay, it is funny. He looks pretty great. I mean, his shadow there looks pretty great. Let's do that one more time. I mean, boots, awesome. With the red is amazing. The design is pretty good. It's sleek. Very much so. The chest is, a lot better than before. There's like a wings motif, but we're going to see that more clearly in a bit with the pictures. Oh. Impactful. So something that you can notice right away is that this costume is way smaller than the previous, which thank God it is, because the previous looked like he wore a couple of pillows on there, and just the padding was ridiculous. It was too much. Now you just have to rewatch it, I think.
Why is it so dark? Probably would have been a good idea to have like one light on.
It's a pretty fun actor. So now let's get to the pictures, guys, because the pictures are the meat of things at the moment. Just let me see what I can... Yeah, that's a pretty good shot. I would love to see some high res. So here's the new costume, guys, in the flesh. I think that this picture is like taken from this side, from down to up, which is the worst possible angle that you can take a picture. But I mean, those are set photos, so whatever you can take, they're not the best or the most flattering, but you can see that he looks a lot better than the first movie, like so much better. Now I'm going to show you, of course, the first movie. I have it right here. So we are ready now to discuss, guys. I love superhero costumes, as you may know. I love superheroes and I love muscles and all of that process in which the actors build their bodies for the roles. That to me is very interesting. Although, you do not think that this is natural, I hope, because it is not. He looked nothing like a guy that trains just a couple of months ago. Not a couple, but okay, it was like 6 months ago. He just did not lift anything. He lost all the muscle from the previous movie, And of course, now he regained it because muscle memory and because, well, we all know what actors do to do that. So they take stuff. But I mean, those are things that not the topic. But he looks a lot better here in this costume because it's not overly bloated, it's not overly padded, it's a lot more closer to his body, and the neckline is just awesome. Just so sleek, so good looking, perfectly fits. That is how it should be. He obviously still padded, but it's more, um, you know, it's just a lot more natural, you can say. The chest is very blocky, and like sharp, but that's like more of a interesting look, I guess, like an armor look. So I like that. I mean, I don't mind. What do you guys think? Yeah, definitely Dear Ivy. Yeah, doesn't look like that buffed. Well, he is buff, but I don't know about the belt though, because the belt looks very uh how to say this? I mean, it's too up. It's making his torso too short. So that's not something particular that I like, but it's also because of the angle, just the angle makes it worse. You can definitely see that he is like shot from this side, not this, not this, it's like this. So let's talk about this, the first costume. So the first costume, obviously, not only it's super huge, super thick, he looked thick from all sides, and not in the good way, because usually when someone gets naturally, I mean naturally, yeah, naturally buffed, he's not supposed to get wider waists in any kind of a way. It's the exact opposite. He's supposed to get smaller waist. Even if it's not natural, it's still, if certain PDs are not taken, you can still remain with a very, very good physique and very small waist. So there's like one or two, at least in my knowledge, ways and PDs that can make actually very thick in that area. And of course, it's a matter of structure. Not every guy has a smaller waist. Some are more blockier, all of that, and not every actor has the best possible structure. So they do whatever they can. They emphasize the shoulders, work more on that, so they can compensate for the waist. But in general, this costume, obviously, no matter of Zachary Levi's structure, is still one of the bulkiest, ridiculously big, costume. So it was not the best. As a design, it's pretty good. I like the design. I like the texture of the costume. But yeah, it was a bit too much accurate to the comic book, to the point where it just doesn't look as good on screen when it's like too close to the original. Maybe it was I mean, if it was less bulkier, it's going to was going to look, you know, well, better and with this design, but who knows. Anyway, and by the way, the cape is not here because in a lot of scenes, if you watch how Man of Steel is shot and other movies in general, the cape is always not there because they're just going to add it. It's just going to be CGI later on, which is absolutely normal. So that doesn't mean that he does not have a cape. He totally has the cape. But I guess for whatever they're filming here is not needed and just in the way. I'm interested to see the new cape actually. Should have once again the hood, I guess. The white is very cool. I hope that the lighting lights up like the previous one, and they make that practical, I think, also to light up. It's an actual lamp there. Now it does not look like that's gonna happen, but maybe it's gonna be CG. Who knows? Who knows? Okay, let's see your comments real quick. But yeah, that's true about the belt, like the wraps. It's like the new shoulders when they are still on all proper and odd. I'm odd. I'm not sure what you mean there. After a few months, the belt goes way lower. Ah, but yeah, just purely aesthetic wise, the belt should be a bit lower. Just a bit. It's gonna make a lot of wow. Thank you for the super chat. I thank you, dear Apple, dear Materian. Thank you, my Primark. That's amazing. Thank you very much. Not gonna suck. I'm pretty sure that's not gonna suck. Although now with DC, everything is like complete mess because Discovery bought Warner. I mean, bought TNT, which have Warner, so it's a whole mess. I'm not sure what's gonna happen there. But yeah, bless you, dear Materian. This is amazing. Surprise. So, something that is, I mean, the best thing. Let's look at that picture if I can move only that picture. Yes. So, look at those shoulders because that's kind of like the best part. Scores of guarantees will charge in your name. Absolutely. Uh, this is an extremely awesome motif with the wings. Something very beautiful. This is something that I would do if I have to draw a superhero costume and if the superhero has something to do with the gods, which he does. It's just the perfect design. I'm very happy about that. I'm just very happy when I see something that's like close to the mind, a genius design, very beautiful, very aesthetic, and somebody actually thought of it. So I'm very happy about that. Just beautiful. I'm not sure really about the block-eared chest, but once again, at least it has good shape. Now the abs area is weird. It doesn't look like it's an actual abs area. It looks like he has abs here, here, and here, like everywhere. He has some kind of an ab there. Like somebody blew up his abs and they just went everywhere, you know. So I don't get that part. Why wouldn't they just make him like normal abs, you know, symmetrical abs? The Rock, by the way, he doesn't actually have very good abs. If you ever notice, he doesn't have good ab genetics. Everywhere else, he's amazingly built, like shoulders, traps, chest, back, legs, amazing, like absolutely everything, but not the abs. His abs are like the worst abs I ever seen, probably in my life, because they're not symmetrical and they're like total mishmash here. That's absolutely, well, very much like that. Well, I hope so. I hope so that they're better because if they're not, I don't know. Now, okay, let's see close to the belt. Unfortunately, those pictures are not exactly, high HD because, well, set photo pictures. But these highlights here from the sides, very clever. That does make him, look a bit, well, tighter, leaner. It contours the body. That's very good idea. Belt's looking very pretty. Not exactly like this one, which is just more simple. It's not bad, it's just more simple. The red is super awesome. I just love the red. I mean, all of that design, all of those accents, just smart, very smart. And these textures remind me of Men of Steel. I mean, of Superman's costume, obviously, but they're a lot larger, very large. But the best parts are basically the gauntlets. Just genius, absolutely genius. Looks so amazing. So I cannot complain. Now Zachary Levi does look older. Well, some years did pass by. It's not like they didn't. So he does look a bit older, but maybe Shazam as a kid also grew up. I mean, we don't know. This picture is very good. Very good. Let me see where exactly it is in my setup. Yeah. So it's just very good because it illustrates how he looks a bit better in a way. Maybe it's the angle. The bicep sculpt and the shoulder sculpting, it's very awesome. That's most important thing, the arms. And like you can see here in the previous costume, it was extremely exaggerated. Extremely, like too much and all of that. But the funny thing is that The Rock is supposedly does not have any padding on his costume. That's very hard to believe. I mean, he is the only person that is muscular enough to pull up a costume that is tight on his body. They just have to make it fit. But I do think that if they just, I don't know how they do these costumes. I mean, I know partially how they do them, but if it's just ever so slightly so they can stick the costume to the body, the way that I know that they're doing this is, having the padding that is basically the sculpting. I'm not sure from what material it's done, but should be like a bit of a harder material. And on that, the costume is glued on, and that's why it looks perfectly straight and just perfect like skin. And I'm not sure how they can do that if he doesn't have anything under it. Yeah, you get my point, I hope. So if it's just like literally just you know, the fabric, how it's going to look is, so tight as it is. Unless they're using some kind of a technique like in the shoulders there. I know I'm getting too much in detail, but these things are very interesting to me how they're made. So this part, here on the shoulder, it looks very fitted. So somehow, some way, if they can do that without the padding, okay, it's perfectly fine. Whatever it is, they're gonna figure it out, and it's gonna look amazing. I just wonder, yeah, I wonder how it's gonna look, and is this really going to be with padding or not with padding? This is very, yeah, I'm just very curious. But the costume, Black Adam costume, should be super similar to Shazam's costume. There should be identical if they're going by the comic books. I'm pretty sure that they were identical to a big extent. Oh, Dark Michael. Yeah, it's improved. Hi to you guys. What? Ah, yeah, the cape. Are you talking about the cape? Let me see what I missed. Oh, you did so The Rock live? Really? Oh, that's so amazing. Well, he's not a wrestler anymore, and he does eat pretty on point. So, I mean, if he didn't, he will look totally different. He does allow himself, of course, pancakes from time to time, but he has so much muscle mass that he can eat a lot of things and still be in that shape. Well, not completely like go, without control, but the point is he can just allow himself more calories, which is great for him. And they still have to, I mean, wrestlers have to look the same all the time, so they can like completely let go of themselves and eat literally like crap. They still have to have some kind of a meal plan. But yeah, I mean, the cape is gonna be CGI only for certain scenes, so there's always a real cape there. There is always a real cape there. Okay, this is just literally captured. But okay, once again, let's look at the previous costume belt. So the difference mostly in the belt, I mean, is that super simple. There's a lot more like detailed. Gauntlets, super simple on the old costume, and here a lot more detailed. On the old costume, super buffed and way too out of proportion, and on this, a lot more fitted to his body. Looks great. His neck here looks a lot better. Ha, interesting. And his face looks fuller. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, was he a bit heavier here? A bit more buffer here in reality? I mean, I've seen him how he trains, so out of the costume, he looks nothing like the costume. I mean, Henry Cavill, for instance, is a lot closer to the costume, like so much closer to the costume than anyone else, pretty much. But now The Rock's gonna blow everybody out of the water because he's just literally the biggest guy in film. No, the next biggest guy is, of course, John Cena, but John Cena lowered his weight a lot, so he lost a ton of muscle for some role that was a few years ago, and since then he's like on the smaller side. He still has more muscle than most people in the world, but compared to The Rock, he is smaller now. We still have to see them side by side. And The Rock actually got a bit smaller now too because he wants to get more ripped for Black Adam, so he's actually a bit smaller as well, just because he got leaner. But he's training, of course, like an animal every day at 4 o'clock. Cannot imagine getting up and training at 4 o'clock. But he doesn't have so much time, so I get it. The guy has perfect work ethic. Not everybody actually can get used to getting so early. I've seen experiments. Not everybody has these genes for that. There's no pictures of Black Adam yet. If you don't count one with The Rock when where he was like covered in something like a black, how is the word for that? Black poncho or something like that. And the little bit of this part was showing where is the lightning. So yeah, like I said, both costumes should be the same. If they're not the same, the difference will be very small. This movie is going to be also pretty damn interesting, um, because it's going to take a look at some gods, and they're very cool. So I can't wait to see that. Uh, Football pads. Yeah. I mean, out of all the movies that I ever seen with superheroes where they had any padding, this is the most obvious one. I mean, the bigger one. And the most obvious, not quite. Just look at the boys and Highlander, his costume is absolutely ridiculous. It's not that big, but uh, it's huge compared to the actor because he does not have any muscle whatsoever. He's a great actor, but he's not lifting anything. So, unfortunately, that's the case there. They can CGI his face, but it's not practical in terms of budget. They cannot do that all the time with throughout the whole movie. When you see actors when they get CGI to look younger, like Michael Douglas in Iron Man, for Ant-Man, Ant-Man. I mean, in Ant-Man, where he is in the Marvel Universe, and Robert Downey Jr. as well. Those scenes are very short because otherwise it's gonna be a bit more expensive. Well, there's the other movie with the Netflix movie with Robert De Niro, and those scenes are a lot more there when they're looking younger. I forgot the name of that movie, but a special technology was developed specifically for this movie. So this movie kind of like made a huge jump in technology because they literally attached uh, let me see what that was. So a few cameras that automatically map the face in motion instead of the actor having a whole gear on his face, and they just use that camera to scan their faces and film them at the same time. So that makes the whole process a lot easier. But I'm not sure if everybody has these. I mean, if they can all use this tech, but as far as I know, it's not cheap and it's not as practical as you can imagine, especially if the movie focuses so much on him rather than other characters in that movie. I have not watched that movie as I'm talking about, but I've seen how it's made, and there's just so many characters there. Well, a lot of them still made with that same technology, but what can I tell you? I mean, they found a way to do it for a longer time, but maybe the story is going to be that he aged and the kid also is not that little anymore, which makes sense. Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista is great. He was amazing in um damn it, in I'm so sleepy. Dead Army. Army of the Dead. Zack Snyder. Army of the Dead, yeah. He was amazing there. The movie, I'm not sure. I mean, the movie is fun, but You will probably like it. I not that much because it was way too gruesome for me. Way too gruesome. And so depressing. It's so depressing. It's just sad. So I prefer not to ever see it again. you know? That's one movie that I will remember, but not for very good reasons. Ah, Pookie? What about Pookie? Who said something about Pookie because I haven't? Ah! Wait. Have to catch up. He's a bunny? I get it. Well, Pookie is eating a lot of the day, even when she sleeps sometimes. She's like waking up a bit. She's like, oh, hey. She's so cute. It's unbelievable. Yeah, cuteness overload all the time. Yeah, David, this is definitely not fluffy. He's just in great shape, the guy. And you'll be surprised from this movie particularly how good he is in drama roles, like too good even. Yeah, Michael, I mean for you if you're looking for that complete gore and zombie apocalypse and zombies being smarter and yeah, I don't want to spoil it, but it was just not my thing. It was just not my thing. I had to push myself through it, so yeah. I was just like, oh, I can't take this anymore. If I see one more head or uh, there's unbelievable things in that movie in terms of gore. Unbelievable things. I never seen such things. So for a lot of people that love these things, visually that's gonna be a blast. But for me, it was very in your face, and Zach knows how to do that. He knows it's impactful. Yeah, but I just don't want to see that. Haven't seen the first one yet. I don't know if they're even related. This looks like totally standalone story, and we still didn't get how the zombies came to be. So that's not a spoiler. More like lack of an explanation in the movie. We just know that military is involved, but nothing else. Oh, show me movies. Um, do bring anxiety and fight or flight responses. I mean, also, depends on the context, I guess. There are just particular types of gore. I have to stop saying that before YouTube, you know, me. But there are just some particular types of, and how it's shown that is like totally, I'm like not faced with it. But there's some others that I'm like, okay, better not. And then rewatched the movie that becomes her, and because it's basically about two women zombies, that freaked me out even more than I had nightmares. So, I mean, it was just bad timing to see both movies in that period of time. So it's just me basically and my state of mind. I didn't have a lot of resistance to yucky stuff, let's say. Okay, guys, so that's gonna be it. I mean, I said everything that I could say in the beginning. He looks great, costume looks great, and I can't wait to see anything DC pretty much. I'm just not sure when. I mean, if something's gonna be delayed or not, and how even they're going to make their movies. It's so unbelievably not clear, especially when everybody in the higher ups are, changing, and Discovery having nothing to do with Warner before that or movies. And now, like, what they're going to do with Warner, there's some rumors that they're going to sell them, although they just bought them. Who knows? I don't know. But at least the movies that they're filming are still keep on going, the process is still there, so it's not like they decided to cancel everything and start anew, like, thank god, no. But Superman is still hanging on the thread, and everything else is just hanging while Marvel has his slate, their slate, already, and Thor finished filming, and I have to talk about Thor, but we'll see about that if I can do that. Oh, you had to stop watching that? Well, if it's not good for your psyche, just don't do that to yourself. Disney going to Amazon. I have not heard anything like this, anything of the sort. Because, they have HBO Max still, and everything's supposed to go there. Except Sweet Tooth, which I started watching. Not sure if I'm gonna keep up with it, just when I can, watch it between meals when I eat, basically. So if I can fit an episode there. It's a DC property, it's a DC show, literally, but it's on Netflix because somehow Warner Brothers lost some rights. So I'm not sure what the heck happened there. I have to check, but it's supposed to be on HBO Max, but it's, yeah, on Netflix for some reason. And I never heard about this comic book ever in my life. It's weird, it's depressing, at least so far. It's interesting, very interesting, but depressing. So if you're not in such a mood to be depressed in a post-apocalyptic world, like for the 100th time, once again, is this concept, but it's just totally different from something else that we've seen before. And, maybe don't do that to yourself. But on the other hand, it's not that heavy. It's just that it has to deal with a particular, made up virus, and it's too much like now in a way, but just much worse. And there's some meaning behind it, but I'm still like at the beginning, so I can't say really if it's gonna be good after that. It's adorable. I mean, the kid that plays Sweet Tooth, he's just amazing. But other than that, guys, I don't know. It's hard for me to watch it, but it's obviously quality, so I'm gonna keep watching it, you know, and see what happens. I'm just in the mood maybe for something like Shazam, because Shazam is just so fun. Something a bit lighter. We get the superheroes, we get the lightness of it, and just this more positive vibes. Although this is gonna be pretty hard task for Shazam to do with the gods, but it's awesome. I mean, I love everything that has to do with gods. It's just so interesting. So I love the concept anyway. Hey, Mojo Jojo. Oh, that's Shazam. Who's that? That's me. That's my Warhammer name. So, yeah, Shazam. If you haven't seen the first Shazam movie, that is the first Shazam movie by DC. One of the most famous, actually, characters of DC. Believe it or not, he's magic based. And these are the shots from the new movie, basically. Oh, yeah, I wanted to say one last thing because it's kind of related to this, and we already went off topic, already covered the topic and went off it. So Jupiter Legacy. Sorry, I'm always thinking about Jupiter Ascending. Jupiter's Legacy was just cancelled. That's the show from Netflix. Mark Miller, I think, was the author of the comic books of Jupiter's Legacy. He also wrote Old Man Logan, amongst other famous comic books, and he wrote for, I think, for DC and Marvel and these other companies, and that particular one that Jupiter's Legacy is from. So it's neither DC or Marvel. And the trailer looked amazing. The cast is pretty good cast overall, especially the main two actors. But the show was pretty bad and it was cancelled, and it cost 200 million to make. So that was one of the shows that Netflix, tried to make, but just didn't happen. That's kind of a rare thing to see a show launch and then being cancelled. At least I can't remember such a show in recent years. The point is, I was so excited for that. I covered the trailer if you guys saw it, and it looked epic. And then when you actually see the show, it's nothing like that. Basically, there's a few scenes that you can say, yeah, those are superheroes. But some of the special effects and how these things were shot, some are actually impressive. Some flight shots, some fighting, it's not that good. But even if you like take this and totally don't mind it at all and just be like, oh, this is excused, the rest of the show is basically a horror movie. Yeah, a horror movie with more horrible corpse shots that I ever seen. Even worse than what I seen in Army of the Dead to a point. And it was once again for shock value, too much in the face, no substance there to cover it. So it was the most unsettling, cringy show as I've seen recently. So I'm not sorry that it got cancelled from that perspective because it just didn't have any place between any other show. I mean, when you take, for instance, something like The Boys, it has a story, it has great characters, it has a lot of things. I mean, it's fun even. And Carol Urban is bringing on the funny and the sad and everything, and just everybody play off of each other very good. And there's extremely gruesome, horrible things there, but they have meaning and context behind them, and the setting of the whole world, how it works there, just makes total sense. But everything in Jupiter's Legacy is forced and not explained well at all, and just a big mess. So if you want to watch a superhero show that superheroes are, well, not very super, and the younger superheroes are total trash basically, and drug addicts and all of that, and you watch them overdose being miserable, and on the other hand you watched, what they did when they were younger, the first generation of superheroes, like how they became superheroes, which took the whole season to happen, the whole season, absolutely to the last episode. You see them how they actually became the superheroes that they are today, but that took the whole season. Unbelievable. And it was just, yeah, not explained very well at all. So yeah, very bad show, very bad show, disturbing, unsettling, doesn't feel good at all, depressed, everything. That's like more negative than positive. So that was it with Jupiter Ascending. And because I'm not gonna make a video about that, I'm just telling you here. Yeah, thank you for that amazing introduction there, Ivy. From Dusk Till Dawn, well, I'm not sure I've seen that. I can't tell yet, but there's nothing super about the show. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be it. If you like to watch all the Jesus, teaser trailer that I did, before we started with the pictures, you can. Just gonna play it. Sorry, I just stopped my own mic. Just gonna play that once more so you can see it. It's very brief, but that is what we have as a teaser, so can't wait to see more. Boom.
Why is it so dark? Probably would have been a good idea to have like.
I guess that he's just going to light up the place with his powers, so he will not complain just in a bit, because he can make his own freaking lamp, in a way. So he's not supposed to be complaining then. Do you remember how he charged the phone? Actually, he overcharged it so it kind of blew up. That was so fun. I have seen Invincible. I have a video here about Invincible, but nobody watched it. But yeah, I covered the first 3 episodes. Then I didn't do review because nobody watched it, the first video. But yeah, Invincible is one of the best shows that are, well, when it comes to superheroes and animation, that is totally the best, or the very, very like top animated shows. It can totally be live action, but the lore is pretty like vast. There's a lot of comic book issues, so they're not going to make live action anytime soon. Although Seth Rogen, he's behind the show, he wants to do that. I want to see it. and I'm sure a lot of other people, but because it's still an unknown property, or at least now it starts to be known, the show has to pick up first, because a lot of people that watched it were like super hyped, but the internet like didn't know. And then when everybody found out that it was good, now they're watching it. I mean, at this moment, it picks up some speed, and I think a few weeks ago too. So yeah, Invincible, one of the best, most amazing and shocking things that you can ever see, animation or not. It's extremely gory. Yeah, it's. I mean, it makes sense. Once again, it totally makes sense why. So it's not like, without any reason. But I went and checked all the comics and the story, how it's going to go. So I basically know what's gonna happen. But not everything is exactly the same. They do stick to it shockingly close sometimes, and for the most part, only little things are changed. So you can totally spoil everything if you see the comics, but I just want to see that vision realized, so I don't really care that I have all the spoilers in my head. I just really like the story overall, and in a way, when you look at the whole history, and when you see what's gonna happen, at least you know that you're in for something good and you're not going to be disappointed at the end. Where if you watch the show, you have no idea. Well, at least I mean, unless they decide to change the good ending and totally ruin it in the show, that's gonna be stupid. But yeah, guys, Invincible is absolutely kicking ass. It's very bloody. It's not a bit bloody. It's very bloody. But like I said, all for the good reasons. For all the good reasons. Of course, I know that. Yeah, they're making the second season. It's picked up for third season. So not only that. Oh yes, thank you, dear Ivy, for helping out. So that's gonna be it, guys. Have a ton, still a ton to do on the weekend. Have to record for my OnlyFans, so that's gonna take me a day. Maybe after that, I'm gonna take at least a day off. We'll see. We'll see, guys. But for now, I'm telling you good night. Have a great, amazing weekend. Thank you so much for the support here, and to this amazing donation of my dear Primarch Materian. Thank you. And yeah, keep safe, guys, and have a great, great weekend. Yeah, good night, all. Good night. Oh, and of course, for everybody else that are new, you can check out my OnlyFans, like I said, where I do my meaningful sex educational content, fitness, health, all those useful things. I hope, meal prepping, all of that.